first thing to do when you're trying to work on harmony is see what you can do with the original root movement. And that's all I did on the first one is all I'm doing is playing C here, and I just happen to be moving the fifth up and down a half step. And that alone creates an interesting movement that's a little more interesting than just hearing C. Alright? When we go to G, instead of going straight to a G7, I like to do some kind of sus. You can think of it like a D minor 7 over the G. Get this kind of sound. And then go to G7, and then C major 7. And here maybe this is like a transition chord between the question of the melody to the answer of the melody, the first half to the second half. So that's always a good time to put in some kind of tension 7 chord, like a G7, flat 9 sharp 5, or you name it. There's a lot of different variations you can do. And then same thing, turn around, sus. Instead of going straight to G7, make a sus, G7, flat 9, and resolve with a C6 9. Alright, pretty basic, but just by changing the voicing of the of your chords, you can make a really simple progression sound nice. And so that's what I did there. Now the second one, it goes into more of a stride, kind of a 12/8 slow, bluesy stride. What I did here is basically just kind of turn the harmony into a jazz standard, like using 2-5-1s, 3-6-2-5-1s. Figure out where you can put stuff like that. So we start off with 1, 2, 3, 6 with the flat 9, 2, 5. Now instead of here going to 1, instead of that I go to the 4 minor. A bit of a surprise that you're not expecting, right? So that's an important thing to do, is knowing when to put in a little bit of surprise to the harmony to make it much more interesting listening to. And then the second time around, instead of going to the 1, I go to the natural minor, the 6, and go down chromatically from here for the second. Get to the F sharp, half diminished 7, then G minor 7, flat 9, back to 1. Alright, now the next one, I'm not going to play it in the rhythm because I just want to talk about the harmony this time. I want to play it slow so we can talk about the harmony. But the concept of this, and when you're reharmonizing, a very easy way to reharmonize is to move down in half steps. You could also move in whole steps. So pick a direction, either up or down. Down is kind of the easier way to navigate the harmony usually. But picking one direction and kind of sticking with that. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to stick with it all the time no matter what. Of course, there's certain times where, oh, now that harmony, that bass note doesn't quite work with the melody, so you might need to switch it up. But to somehow have a general direction of where you're going with the reharmonization makes it a lot easier to come up with something. So here we just started with the 1 and moved down chromatically. And so you get this. First off, you want to try to maybe just play the root movement. So all I'm doing is moving down chromatically from C to F. Now what I need to do, I get the second note. Now normally you would think, okay, now that's a minor 9th interval there. What am I going to do with that? And then it goes up to the minor 3rd. Like, what kind of harmony could possibly work with that? Well, there's a perfect chord that could work with that. A B7, flat 9, 13 would sound nice with that. It'd give it this diminished dominant sound. So if you get... Then we get to B flat with a... So that you want to think about what is the relationship between the root and the bass. And here it's a tritone, an augmented 4th or a diminished 5th. So there's several different harmonies you can use there, but a B flat 7 with a sharp 11 is going to sound nice. So we get... Then the 5th, kind of stick with the dominant sound and make it a flat 9. And then we get another tritone, and then make it a sus. And here we got minor 7, so I make it a minor 7 flat 5, and then a minor major 7. You could have done different chords here. I could have done dominant 7. Could have done major 7. I don't know. I just felt like a minor, major, 7 fit nicely here. And then the next section, I start from the flat 5 of the key, so F sharp, and I'm moving down. And this is something that you can do a lot with a lot of different songs. Start on the flat 5. It's also a cool ending, and kind of work your way down chromatically. And it doesn't have to go exactly chromatically. You can do F sharp, F, E, A, D, G, but starting on that flat 5 and moving down is a nice kind of standard reharmonization progression, if you will. Now I could have gone to E flat 7 here, but I felt like maybe it's a little too much tension. It could have worked with the flat 9 and then 2, 5, 1 to finish it off. Now the next one I did is all of a G pedal, and then on top I'm doing sort of mostly triad on top. So it creates this tension. Whenever you do a pedal tone, the typical pedal tone would be the 5th of the key. So in C you'd be G, right? And on top you can play all kinds of... Any triad you play is going to sound kind of cool, actually. But the key is actually not to play root position triads. That's one thing you want to try to avoid. Again, there's times where that might work, in fact, but so I hate to use the rules that say apply all the time, because there really no rule applies all the time. You can break any rule. It's just a guideline that I tend to find that a second position triad, so C, second position, tends to work a little better. So we get this kind of... We come to what I just call the random roots. Okay, so up till now we've kind of had certain patterns. The first one was like a 1-6-2-5 standard jazz type changes. Then we moved down chromatically, and then we did a pedal tone. Each one had its own theme. Now the random roots is kind of taking away those standard movements, like fourth progressions or down in minor seconds, taking that away and doing something really just kind of random. And the key is just, what I find to be a really great exercise is to pick a bunch of random roots and try to create harmony that would work with that. There's no melody note that won't work with any particular bass note. You can find any one particular note. Now if you have multiple notes, there's times where maybe it's going to create too much tension to work, but if you just have one note and one bass tone, you can make that work no matter what. So I started with just, actually I went to this random note thing, random note generator on Google, found this website that'll give you random notes, and just created some harmony based on that. So the first thing I did was get the root movement happening. We get... Alright, that sounds pretty bad, alright, but I like the challenge of seeing how I can make that work, how we can turn that into something that, you know, that works. First one, B minor 11. Really play like that in real life if I was going to arrange this, just, you know, without, not as an exercise but as a real arrangement. I might not go that far, but I might. It depends what I'm going for. But as an exercise, it's a great exercise to work on different stuff and find things that you like and things that you don't like, and actually figure out how to create cool voicings. That's really the key to creating good harmony, is having really balanced voicings. So anyway, I hope you found that helpful. There's a million more ways I could have arranged it. I picked 5. I hope you like it. Send me some questions. I'll try to get back to you in the comments. Ask me any questions and I'll try to get back to you. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Thanks.